funny and sometimes difficult journey of marriage. Meet the couple next door, ordinary couples sharing their extraordinary stories. Take on the marriage experiment and discover how well you really know your spouse. Step into the marriage hot seat and hear the questions couples don't always ask. And open the marriage confession box where listeners share the things they've never told their spouse. It's real, it's honest, it's relatable. And it all leads to one question. When was the last time you chose each other? Love Unscripted. Real couples, real conversations, real marriage. This August only on Sunny FM. Sponsors 1981 Clothing, Kino Hotel, Everything Bags by H&B.
Stay positive. Feel encouraged. Sunny FM.
We're back on Sunny 88.7 FM. It's approximately 28 minutes to 9. This morning on Love Unscripted, we're exploring a side of relationships we don't often talk about. I mean, sometimes the biggest challenges in marriage aren't the arguments we hear. They are the wounds we don't see. And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at this morning. Our guests will be helping couples address through a unique experience this year called Heartstrings, Healing Hidden Wounds, Building Lasting Love. And we're going to delve deeper into this right here on the I Am Drive today. Michael and Letitia Ohene-Effah, they've joined us this morning on the I Am Drive. We're live on our socials, Sunny 88.7, on Facebook and YouTube, and also we're live on Sunny TV as well. You can catch us if you're in the office. Go to sunnygh.com on your computer. You can find us right there. You see radio and TV, pick one, or you can download the Sunny TV GH app right now and catch us on TV as well. Good morning to you, Michael. Good morning, Letitia.
Good morning.
Hope you're good.
Half asleep, but yeah.
We are tired and worn out because
You've just returned, yes. How did it go?
It went very well. Very, very well. By God's grace, we had fun. We shed tears. We connected deeply, and we've been able to support almost 90 future millionaires with the blueprint for knowing what to do with their lives. And I'm particularly excited because one father picked his boys, and on the way home they said, "Dad, we need to have a savings account." In the car right after the camp, they said we need to have a savings account. So I think to that extent we are very happy about what we've been able to do with these young ones. But I have a bone to pick with you. I am joining your son to sue you for loss of income, for breaking promise, and for loss of millionaire status. Because you were supposed to bring him to come so he'll be a millionaire.
Mike, unfortunately, they didn't vacate. At the time they vacated, you guys were already there.
Well, when you are in court, you can explain that to the judge. Because now you shortened my boy.
You know, Michael, I mean, we were in the bathroom when he asked me, "Do I have savings?"
Okay.
And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Do you know, I don't know who I taught them that, but do you know you don't touch your savings?" And I said, well, I do touch my savings. And he says, "So you don't touch it so that then you add more." I said, "Who is teaching these boys?" He would have done well over there.
Yeah,
Fortunately, they were still in school. They just vacated recently. I mean, Letitia, this year, what was your biggest takeaway? I mean, before we get into our couples conversation.
Where? At camp?
Yes, at the camp, yes.
Oh, I think for me, I still insist that there is no bad child. They need something that they may not have the language to request for. So the more you're present with them and the more you're curious as opposed to angry or frustrated with their ask, because they can't ask, right? So they'll show it, they'll project it in different ways. So the more you are with them, the better it is. And each year it confirms that knowing and that conviction for us that there really is no bad child. It's just being in the right place at the right time and choosing to be in their space and understanding them and coming from a place of empathy, and you actually learn more from them than you think they were coming to frustrate you. So the children do not frustrate you. They're good children. They just have their own issues that if you allow them to share with you, then you would be in a better place to appreciate and to support one another better. Yeah.
Well, we're on Love Unscripted. It's brought to you by 1981 Clothing, proudly by Kino Hotel, and also by Everything Bags by H and B. And Michael, this one is by popular request. My producer and my boss, JJD, wants me to ask, because this morning I shared, the question was, I knew I was in love when, we had to continue that story, that sentence.
Yeah.
And I shared mine, how I met my wife. I knew I was in love when I became an Uber driver without intentionally deciding to be her driver. And how I would close and come and wait for her at UT Bank head office. And how one day when I came, she was gone. She didn't think I wanted to do that job of a driver. And so she said, but I closed. I picked my car and I went home. And I was very furious. That was when I knew I have lost it.
Yeah.
That was when I knew the energy.
You were head over heels.
I was head over heels. I had to I hadn't even popped the word yet, Michael.
But you knew it.
But I knew. That was when I knew.
Awesome.
And Tina Jenny see me say, I mean, things we do for love.
Michael,
Michael, when did you know you were in love? I mean,
yeah, kind of simple. Saturday was actually 24 years since we fell in love.
ooh,
Yeah, Saturday, 2nd August. I remember the date very well. But I think we've been married for 22. But we fell in love 24 years ago. Now I knew I was in love. We were very good friends. Very, very good friends. We used to bounce ideas off each other.
yeah,
And I knew I was in love when I used to go to her with my problems.
oh,
Yeah. So every, when you have a problem and you are itching to talk to
someone.
Exactly. Like this is the person you want to. And the youth of today, they have something called Nigeria. We started an Nigeria 24 years ago. We could chat till 3 a.m. And when we're dating,
on phone.
yes, when we're dating, she lived close to the Raja Dam, and I lived in Ashalibochi.
That's some distance, so.
Charlie, it's like 2 continents, but I could do that journey twice a day without thinking about it. Of course, the traffic wasn't as bad, and some will go for programs and go and drop her, and we'll be on the phone till I reached home, just to keep me awake, because sometimes I'll be driving alone around, 12 midnight, 1 a.m. and that kind of thing. And she'll stay on the phone with me till I reached home, So that was it. That kind of did it for me. And I'm sure sitting here, I did it for her as well.
But this conversation, we had the question, right?
Yeah.
But for us, it sparked an interesting conversation for us in the car, because there's a difference between falling in love, because that's the beginning, right? So there's an intent, there's a curiosity, there's a longing, there's a knowing, and then there's being in love, and then there's loving, right? So the multiple, if you will, streams or angles or a pendulum of where you begin the love, where you're taking it, where it goes. So it swings in between these 3. And there's this thing about always falling in love on a daily basis, because then it's a spark, right? And then choosing to be in love, which is a deeper connection and affection. And then also deciding daily to choose this person, and then be there and do what you must do. So daily we swing in between these 3. And it's important that we say that as we go into this conversation. But so we had all that conversation in the car based on this one conversation or one question that you asked on air.
Wait, I'm also eager to ask, did you fall in love around the same time when Michael was also,
I think for me, I think I knew when he first told me the truth. Okay. So for me, it was when he told me the truth. See, when I first moved back home.
Can you now? You're on record.
When I first moved back home, I love rings. I love rings. I love earrings. I love toe rings. I loved all those things. But I've always kept my hair short. So like typically, and at some point he was like, when you speak, you make a lot of sense. And then he went on and on and on and on. But when people see you, they can't decide who you really want to be. And in these parts of the world, it's better if X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh, okay, nobody has actually been able to speak to me like this before. Truthfully. It wasn't that he was disrespectful or anything. He was very respectful, but truthfully, because you don't get that. Or I don't get that a lot. So then I was like, okay, this is an interesting perspective and somebody you can be curious about and want to. So I think for me, that was it. So I tend to be a more rational kind of person than anything else. Yeah. So I think for me it was a decision. But at that point I was like, okay, this is somebody who can tell you the truth without being afraid. And that for me was important.
And on that tangent, let me add that when I popped the question, her first response to me was, do you know why you want to love me?
Hey.
And that was very different. So on the issue of the difference, because typically, when you pop the question, the typical response is, let me think about it, or let me pray about it, or you give me some time to refer. But she popped a question back to me, which made me really think hard, because her question was, do you know why? So she was asking me for something deeper. She was asking me to connect with me myself and try and give her a reason why I wanted her to be in my life, or the reason why I said I love her. And I found that to be very deep and also different. And I was like, okay, this one is for keeps. Because you don't get that. At that time, and I think it's even worse now, a lot of the conversations are shallow. You don't get people that operate at that deep level. And so I think that is what has sustained us to today. That deep, connection, that somebody you can have deep conversations with, somebody that has a plan and a purpose for their lives, and not just the usual thing, makeup, hair, shoes, dresses, that kind of thing. So
there's a whisper here about iPhones.
Is what has brought us together.
Michael, Opa will PhD crown sana. We need to give that much. Now we're coming back to our conversation. Thank you so much, Michael and Letitia. I mean, for us at Sunny, this is our 3rd year running with you on Couples Retreat, if I'm not mistaken. 4th year running with you on Couples Retreat. And I think for us as a team, there's one thing. I mean, there's a uniqueness of your sessions. And every year when we think about, we still compare back, to you. And it's how unique your sessions are. This year, let's start with the name, Heartstrings. For me, I find it quite intriguing. I mean, why did you choose the name? Because we said, tell us what you want to do with us. And I find it intriguing, Michael. I mean, why Heartstrings?
Tisha actually take this question because the name came from her.
Because you brought it up.
Yeah. No, we've been. I think I shared with Jenny that we work as couple coaches And we run private or customized sessions with people. And we also, as you know, we are in the business of running workshops and seminars. We are trainers. And so every year we come at you with the burning pain and what people, we look at the dominant questions that people are asking us. We look at what we are seeing in our personal working with people. And so when we see that, we are like, no, we need to explore this further. We need to support people more with this issue. So we had an idea about what we felt the major pain was that we need to work with. And as we work with couples, sometimes you listen to both of them and you realize that, oh, at the end, it's just this one, or this is what is actually keeping them apart. This is what is actually driving them to use the word crazy. And so we had that concept, but the name and the framing came from Letitia, so I'll allow her to speak to it.
Please help us. Heartstrings. I mean, quite intriguing, honestly.
Yeah.
So what typically happens is, people come together because they love one another, right? But at some point they get stuck in this perpetual conversations. It's the same conversation every day. It's the same arguments every day. It's the same disagreements every day. So there's something that's holding them back there. And sometimes nobody wants to shift. And sometimes no matter how hard they try, they either bury the issues, so there's peace, as we call it, in relationships, or it now becomes an irreconcilable issue that requires a separation. And we're looking at it being, you look at heartstrings, so there are two hearts coming together to form oneness. But in the relationships, there are visible and invisible strings that are holding us together or pulling us apart. So these strings are what we're looking at. If we're in regards to the theme, we're looking at people connecting deeper. We're looking at people forming those friendships again. Because we were friends before we became married. We didn't just get up and marry. Something drove us into the coupleness, the union. So if something is pulling us apart, then those are the strengths that we want to look at. And typically they're like belief systems. They are that we don't even know about. They're things that happened to us donkey years ago. So all these little things, expectations that we've not been able to open up about, or that we hold dear and yet we haven't been able to share for whatever reason. And those reasons are also part of the strings, right? So how do we now look at these strings? First, the strings that brought us together, the strings that can keep us together, those that are pulling us apart. And then how do we reconcile these two? So hence the heartstrings.
Michael, want to add something? Maybe.
Yes. My question to you, you've been asking all the questions. I'm also asking the question.
Okay.
Do you genuinely understand your wife?
Genuinely?
Yeah. Do you think like you understand her?
Sometimes I think I do. And sometimes I lose it completely.
Exactly. So that's what we mean by the heartstrings. All of us are creatures of our childhood. How we grew up, how we were parented, which is why Leadafrique, we are very big on the children, because it plays a lot in your choices, your behaviors, your attitude, and your aptitude as an adult. And so you and I are experiencing our spouses, but we are only experiencing the head of the trailer. The head of the trailer is what we see in our marriages and relationships. The trailer itself, the back. And you know that back is sometimes 10 times longer and bigger than the head. Now, a lot of us don't get to appreciate the back. The back are, as Letitia said, the beliefs. What formed your spouse before you met? How they were parented. Some people grew up in homes where they were allowed to speak up. Others too grew up in homes where they were told not to speak up.
Yeah.
Akwada bongwa or machichidie. Children are supposed to be seen. They are not supposed to be heard. Now, if you grow up in a home like that, it's very difficult for you to resolve conflict as an adult. And you can be very Holy Ghost filled. You can be the worship leader.
Tongue speaking.
Exactly. But you realize that anytime there's a little conflict, your husband shuts down. He doesn't talk, or he stays out of the house. There's something driving that behavior, but we never take the trouble to understand that. Sometimes there's a conflict, and one person wants to resolve it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk. And another person says, "I'm not," or you raise
Or
the
just
topic.
simply go silent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or you raise the topic and they won't say anything. They won't sleep on the same side of the bed. When you are in the bedroom, they come to watch TV. When you come to the hall, they go back to the bedroom. That's an avoidant, spouse. And you are like, what have I done? And the other spouse keep asking a lot of questions like, I don't understand this guy. I thought he was my knight in shining armor, this dashing man, but he doesn't talk. It's because something is happening. The back of the trailer. Now, what we are going to bring to this year's couples retreat is to help people to appreciate the back of the trailer. The things that are driving their spouses. I mean, we were in the car just about getting there, and we saw the dashing husband of Jennifer, really suited up, very suited up, coming here to say his last I love yous before he goes to work. Charlie, I don't live here though. He came here to say the final one before going.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you see, we love each other, but we tend to grow distant day by day with little incidents, that keeps us apart. And that is really, for the work that we do, that is really what is destroying marriages. Disconnection, lack of connection between the couples. We are both Christians. Some of us are church workers, leaders, and stuff. And yet, we are growing distant by the day because of little incidents at home that we are not able to resolve. Now, what is happening is because the strings are stretched. Now, so this year's couples retreat, please, if you haven't registered, register, because the things that are going to happen, you don't want to miss it for
Michael,
all the good in Takwa.
Let me tell our listeners that as of this morning, the allocation we booked with Aqua Safari, we're done with it. I mean, yes. And so Jenny is reaching out if we can add a few more spaces, if they still have rooms for us. And so we're asking, I think we were left to one this morning. Yes. And so please, if you're planning, it should be now. Reach out to us, 0545 223324. Register. You can still do the deposit now. And then let's see. Our deadline was 20th of August, but we got into this campaign very early. And so you have to call now and then at least do the deposit, and let's see how it will go. Michael, without giving...
But can't they put people on the river? Like, can't people sleep on the river? Can't they create some camp on the river for...
You never know. You never know.
That would be very nice. So if they put some water beds, for extra people who like to come in and have an experience of the couple.
And you're bad. This year, if you look at the plan, I think we are doing a lot of different things from the usual that we do put together. Michael, without giving maybe too much away.
Yeah.
Especially for those who will be joining us, is there one activity or exercise that people will find particularly maybe eye-opening in relation to what we're talking about?
Well, as you know, this year, and as you know, with us, we are an experiential company, Leadafrique. For example, how do you take a group of children and teach them about debit and credit? We do that through a lot of exercises, experiences, role plays, and stuff. And that's exactly what we are bringing to the couples retreat. So, as the name goes, heartstrings, it gives people a clue as to what we are going to do. But then the assurance is that by the time we are done that night, the aha moment, couples will have the aha moment. The aha is when you say, now I understand her. Now I understand him. So this is why he does this and not that this. That is the assurance. And we are going to do that for those of us in the as concerned. We are going to use a number of approaches and a number of exercises for couples to reach there. The assurance again is that this year won't do much of PowerPoint. We are going to reflect couples' behaviors to them and ask them to analyze and assess. We are going to let couples have a lot of deep conversations, no holds barred conversations, so that by the time we are done, you would appreciate how your spouse shows up in the marriage. That's what we are going to do. So I won't reveal the exercise. Otherwise, then why would you come? I want you to register and come and spend time with us. But the assurance is that through the things we are going to do with you, the aha moment will drop. You will now appreciate your husband and say, okay, that's why. Or you appreciate your wife and say, aha, now I know. That is the assurance.
You know, I Michael, there's something that, you know, there's an effect on my marriage from a previous couples retreat. I think the Western region. So I think I will usually react immediately. I mean, I will usually react immediately. When we returned, something happened. I'm with the children in the house. I know my wife, so I'm cleaning after them. You know, I don't want anything to happen. And then before I knew, the whole place is just messed up again, and she comes in. And she goes, you know, she just goes off. My immediate response would have been, I've been with these children. Who knew how hard it is? And that should have been it. Then I remembered that Michael said, try to also understand where they are coming from.
Yeah.
You know, if you understand where they are coming from. So I had to go inside and pause and breathe and try to understand where they are coming from.
That's it.
And went back and said, you know how, relax.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got this.
Yeah.
And but after a while, she also came and said, hey, Ojam,
Is that you?
is that you? Because when I also said this, my immediate response was Kwaba. But then you said, and so she's like, no, I mean, and this is couple, yes. And so we went back to the notes. I mean, I said, check the notes, you know. I think that is how practical usually we come back from sessions like this. Our responses are usually mechanic.
That's right.
Based on what we were talking about, our response, I mean, trailer knitting every day, you know. I think we're talking about wounds and healing wounds as well.
That's right.
I don't know, Letitia, if you would want to throw a bit of light on that. It comes with heartstrings, which is also sort of a big part of a lot of marriages today.
Yeah.
People are hurt.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's unconsciously they are hurt, and they're being hurt every day.
Yeah.
How is this retreat going to help our couples to sort of know maybe a little bit about this and be aware and maybe heal and treat these areas?
Just maybe an example would be helpful, but to give that example, you know, you can be a family of about 4 or 5 children, and everybody will experience the parents differently. So let's start from there, because then it helps with what I'm going to say. You experience them differently because you all come at different stages of your parents' life. So for some, you'd come when they're rich. For some, you'd come when they're just starting out. For some, you will come all manner of things. Somebody's stuff happens. So while you're going through those processes, your children experience you differently. And that said, one person could be in a household who feels neglected, who feels abandoned, who feels overly loved and pampered. Same household, but the experiences are different. So that said, you'd have somebody who perhaps experienced a parent or was given birth to, and let's assume that the dad did not accept them. Right, so these multiple households where you have a child outside of the marriage or outside of wedlock or something, but that responsibility was not taken. So from the child's perspective, they are an orphan. And that spirit of orphanness follows them through life. It forms the basis of every decision that they're going to make or take. So there are times when they would do simple things like, let's assume that they get into a place of power. They want you to know that they're in a place of power. So they ask you for something, you don't give them. what happens? They're thinking about rejection, right? So you're just rejecting them, as opposed to even perhaps saying that they should wait a little longer. So their immediate response is, I'll show you where the power lies.
Wow.
And that decision goes through all their decision-making processes. And if you're taking 35,000 decisions in life every single day, and this is forming the foundation of your decision taking or your decision making, you're in trouble. And everybody around you is in trouble. So we need to almost sing to your tune all the time. Otherwise, we have to face that rejected child or that orphan that is still following you around. And that's very difficult in relationships. And we still have those in relationships. So how do you begin to unravel and understand where those decisions are coming from? Where's that foundation? And how do you deal with that foundation? I think that marriages provide us a unique opportunity to be vulnerable to one another more than we will be vulnerable to anybody else that we meet. And in that process, we also go through a lot of pain. That pain typically doesn't start with the couple. It started before the couple came together. So how do you now begin in this uniqueness that you find yourself? How do you begin to understand the person much better? How do you begin to understand at what point this decision or this foundation come to being? At what point did this belief become truth for the person and has become the story they tell themselves every day? And in my unique position as their spouse, how do I now, with the understanding that I have, even begin to be more interested in what they do, the actions that they take, so that I'm better able to support their healing process and their healing journey? Knowing very well that I may not have all the tools, but now I am giving this unique position in this person's life to be able to support that healing. It could just even be the start of the process, not even take them through, but saying that, oh, we need help, or you particularly may need this particular person to support you, or this group, not a person, but like either a psychologist, a therapist to support you, and that I will be here with you through the process. That alone is a unique place to be. And typically we lose that uniqueness because we allow the narratives of the world to take over. And when they take over, it becomes what I want versus what you want versus what we don't have versus what we have. So these are some of the things that we're going to look at taking people through.
You know, Michael, I mean, talking about this, I think a few weeks ago, a friend reached out and he's like, oh, Charlie, everything is okay, but there's one thing. and I'm like, what? And he's like, when it comes to my wife, we don't talk about her family. He said she goes on a defense. Even if somebody has erred and I want to say, oh, this person did this and I just want to bring it to attention, she'll go like, oh, no, maybe this, and she'll explain and she'll wrap it. He said, it's killing me. I mean, she's so much on a defense when it comes to her family to the extent, and now I have decided I will not talk about her family. And so even when she brings it up, I'll say, oh, yeah, it's okay. Then he said recently she brought something and she said, oh, I don't want to talk about it, and that has brought a whole, why don't you care about my family? But apparently it had been built up from the point where even for something that is obvious, she comes with a defense. You know, this is big, Michael, because I feel we haven't understood each other in the way we should. And for some, not at all. And for some, the journey we are in on our marriages, the whole issues we have is because we've not seen the tail end of the trailer. You know, and why it informs why they do the decisions. You know, they take the decisions they take. Wow, this will be.
You know, when you go to the showroom to buy a new car, and you are looking at the specs, you know, we hardly get into the engine. You are looking at whether it had stereo. You are looking at the color. You are looking at the alloy rims, and you know, and
the comfortable seats and all,
the leather seats. But what drives the car? Most of us won't get there. And you are buying the name. Maybe I want a Benz. I want a BM. I wanted this. And it's the same thing. When most of us are ready to settle down, we are looking at color, height, shape. And, and the ladies are looking for six-pack. And I was telling the campus just this weekend that like for some of us, if we were using six-pack,
because six-packs no
maybe an spiritual. It takes you have to be in the spirit
to see it.
It's not by sight. It's not by. You have to fast and pray.
Some of us near what trace. They say acquire one. How do you deal with?
Some have one.
One pack.
I'm one of a few men in the world with 8 packs. But you see, those are the kind of things that shape our decision making. And some are even looking at tribe, some are even looking at ethnicity and all of that. But that is not who you are going to get married to. That's not who you are going to live with. That's why we say, I am in a relationship. Relationship meaning you are relating with the person till half past eternity.
It's a process, long term.
It's a long-term project. It's not a short-term project. So you cannot use short-term yardsticks and measures to make the decision, which is why we struggle. And then when we are in love, we are not also having deep conversations that will help us to discover the person we are working with. It's all about,
tiptoeing around each other.
Let's go for this play. Let's go for here. Have you seen this new joint? Let's go. So we are not having the deep conversations that allow. Because I tell people when I talk to singles that the red flags are always there. They are very visible, but you never pay attention to it. This is your friend, for instance, that is experiencing the wife in a certain way. If he paid attention when they were courting, he would have known that family means a lot to this woman. Maybe because of something that has happened in the past. Maybe because of how she was raised. Family means a lot. And so for her, anytime you mention family or there's anything about family, it triggers something deeper within her.
Yeah.
Now, that should have been explored during courtship so that it can be resolved, unraveled, and understood. But we don't do a lot of the deep conversations. We are looking at, does she come from the same side of Ghana as me? Does she attend the same church as me? And then we make our lifelong decisions based on that, only to now come in and realize that, I made this statement at one of the couples retreats, that we are living with the teenage versions of our spouses. Because everything you are seeing about your spouse was formed before they were teenagers. The way you experience your spouse today is from the way they were raised, the relationships they had, how they related with their siblings and their parents. So if you don't understand that, you are going to have unnecessary conflict in your relationship. That is what we mean by the wound. Because some grew up with abandoned fathers who were never there. So you realize that they always want to keep a tab on you. Where are you? When are you coming home? But you close work at 5. Why are you coming home at 9? What happened between the 4 hours when because they grew up with somebody who wasn't there. Anytime you are not there, it triggers a deep string. That's the string. Some grew up with overly abusive, verbal, not physical, but overly abusive parents. Anything they did was not enough for the parent. If you sweep, you didn't sweep well. If you wash the dishes, you didn't wash it well. Very critical parents. This spouse will end up being like the parent. Anything you do, they will be critical of you. And so it is not you that they are dealing with. It is reminding them of something that happened once they were growing up. And so if you don't take the trouble to understand and to process that, you continue to have unnecessary conflict. 2 Holy Ghost filled people who cannot live together. This is the challenges we are seeing in our relationships and marriages. So it is important that we understand each other. We understand the wounds. We understand the trailer bodies behind the trailer head. Then it will give you some peace, some quiet, some comfort. You see, I think we owe it to ourselves to enjoy our marriages.
Yeah.
Because you see, after the trouble of traffic and annoying colleagues in the office and clients and vendors and all the things that happen to us during the day, we must retire to a peaceful home.
Yeah.
And yet, for most of us, when we are going home, we dread it.
Yeah.
Because not another argument, not another this. Ujam, I'm not going to Ujam. You know, you don't want to do that. Otherwise, Charlie, your blood pressure will shoot up unnecessarily. Now, how can we achieve that serenity? We can only do that when we understand the body. We can only do that when we understand the wires that wired our partner, even before we met them. And so for Letitia and I, our message to couples this morning is, it is not your spouse. How your spouse is showing up in the relationship or marriage was formed long before they themselves even understood themselves. And so please forgive your spouse for the way they show up, for the way they react and respond. But you can only do that when you deeply understand her. Because for some people, like this example you just gave, family means everything. Now, why does family mean so much? You must embark on a quest to understand what incident, what experiences, what is it? Why is she so protective of the parent? You have to unravel it. Otherwise, it will keep coming back and showing up every day. And this is the issue where you love her deeply, but it is serving as a barrier, to the love. And so take advantage of this couples retreat. Better understand how your spouse is shaped or was shaped. And then from that understanding, you can operate from a position of empathy. And then from the position of empathy, simple arguments will not become conflicts. Because now you can handle it better. Now you can understand why your husband is strongly opposed to the tiniest of criticism, because it sparks something deeper within him. And from that, we can have harmonious, joyful, happy homes, which is our divine right as Christians. And I think it will start when we enroll in the couples retreat and start taking advantage of the wonderful sessions that have been planned.
So simply, Michael and Letitia, we're saying that even if for the last 15 years we've been at each other's throats because of lack of understanding, from your experience, we can actually undo all of these.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we can just go back to a start, which is good, and continue. Because we know a lot of people who meet us and say, oh, baby, are you doing it there? No. I mean, we can't do anything about it, It's been like this for years. So there's nothing we can do. I think some people are at that stage, where they have, succumbed to whatever has happened in the last couple of years and have agreed that nothing can be done. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, book this, come and understand each other. Even for those, and I think Kobna Jackson, who is also our facilitator, said, those of you who are saying we're at a point where we don't need help, is the most dangerous stage that you are in when you say, oh, yeah, the baby, I wanted the air cry. We don't need a retreat like this because we understand each other. It's very dangerous. I mean, it's a process that we have to carry on the entirety of our lives and enjoy, good marriages. So please reach out with to us, 0545 3324. Again, it's 0545 3324. Conversation like this, it reminds us that strong marriages doesn't come by pretending. Not at all. It comes with work, and that's the work that if you are married, commit yourself to this work. Okay. I mean, we're going to end here, but then don't forget that it's 27th to the 30th of this month. We're already in August, and so I think we are maybe 23, 22 days away from leaving. And remember, if we don't get to hear from you this week, it's also possible that you will self-drive if you reach out, because this week those who go with a bus, we are wrapping up on that as well. If you've booked already, you may have to reach out to us and let us know that you will go with the bus. You can simply go to sunnygh.com.
That's the website, sunnygh.com. When you go, there's a flyer there, there's a landing page there. Just click on it and reach out to us on WhatsApp or even via email. Michael, if I have to leave you with your last words, what would it be? I think I'll give this to Letitia.
I think that, so we've been talking a lot about getting to understand your spouse, right? But I think that there's wisdom in understanding yourself as well, and coming to this from a place of how do I also become better? How do I build my capacity in order for me to be able to support my spouse's journey and to support my own journey? So we do this together. So it is not about, don't come to fix somebody. Come to understand yourself as well, as much as you want to understand your spouse, because it's the only way. If it's one-sided, there won't be a resolve. You will still go back to the same thing and the same dance and the same conversations. But come with an open mind, come with an open heart, come to receive as much as come to share. It's a very safe space. We do create very safe spaces. So come and share, give of your best, and learn from the other couples as well who would be present in the room. So we'll see you soon at the retreat.
You know, Thursday night is it's a classic night. Thursday night, we're going to do music. We're going to dance. We're going to know each other. You know, this year a different NT. Join us 0545-223324 on our website sunnygh.com.
Your love is sweeter than honey.
Don't miss this